Hey YouTube community, today I want to talk about Battlefield Hardline multiplayer. I've covered the campaign first, but I wanted to put some real hours in the multiplayer. And here, let's talk about the video at hand in front of you. This is a little kill streak I go on with the helicopter. It's called the attack helicopter, but if you play Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4, you think this is the scout. It's very similar except for you have a gunner. But anyway, I go on a 20 kill streak with it. It's extremely good. My gunner, I have two gunners actually, because one, well, he kind of got screwed. You'll see later. But we both, and by both I mean all three of us, destroy everything. This is a great map for it. You can duck in between these buildings every time you get yourself into trouble. And, tuck tail and run, which you're going to see me do a few times. I do cut this up quite a bit because it is a very long gameplay. In case you're curious, this is the default loadout because I had barely been in the helicopter before this in Battlefield Hardline, so I didn't really have nothing unlocked. But what you do get starting out is pretty damn good as far as I'm concerned. Anywho, back to the subject on hand. Is this a good multiplayer game? I would say yes, but it is a flawed one at that. Flawed, why? Because, well, some of it's, a rehash of stuff you've already had, but, just in a new way. And sometimes, I know everybody's not having this problem, but I'm having some massive hit detection issues that I don't have nearly as bad in the current Battlefield 4 game that I thought would be eliminated when we got to this. And, most of the time it plays great. Sometimes it plays better than Battlefield 4 ever played. But then there's times where weird shit happens, where I'm shooting somebody and they literally takes no damage. There was one instance where I was parked next to somebody, and I managed to overheat my guns in the helicopter twice, shooting into their vehicle, and never did get a hit marker. And I'm very sure I should have been able to kill it. There's things like that. And certain enemies, sometimes you seem to do no damage to. And they're not always because they have a bad ping or I have a bad ping. Sometimes they're both around 30, 40 ping, and just nothing happens. And it irks me quite a bit. It's one of my biggest things I don't like about the game. And I know not everybody's having this issue. Maybe it's with my internet just being, kind of stupid, but that's the thing that bugs me the most. Now, I know quite a few people out there, the one question they want is the ACWR and some other guns you get to start out with if you buy the Digital Deluxe or the Ultimate Pack. Any good? And you know what? The ACWR is very good. Is it top tier? No, it's not top tier at all. The M416 is a top tier operator class weapon. Of course, you do need some unlocks to make it that way, and you don't get it instantaneously, which you do in the ACWR, but the M416 is definitely better, and the M16A3 is easily better too. The AKM, that's a little debatable. Sometimes I think that thing's amazing. Sometimes I wish it didn't have quite the recoil it has. I haven't got all the unlocks for it yet, so we'll see how that plays out. But ACWR the best? No. After a short period of time, it's going to be a non-issue whether or not people have that. I don't think it's that great. It's definitely decent. It's definitely fairly easy because the recoil is pretty minimal. But again, once you get those unlocks, it won't really matter anymore. Since we're already talking about weapons, why not talk about the rest of them? The rest of the operator class is okay. I haven't used them all yet, but you can definitely tell what the top 2 or 3 are. It's fairly apparent just because I do not die or do not even see people using some of the other ones. I know it is fairly early, but there's definitely no reason to use anything other than M4 or M16, depending which side you're on. AKM sometimes is fun because it's such a high damage weapon. I'll definitely do some reviews later to really go in depth on them. But right now, stick to those two. And again, on attachments, I'll get to them later in a review video, but it's pretty obvious which loadout you want to use. And, it's not all about the operator class. The mechanic is actually damn good. Have you used the K10 yet? If you haven't, you are doing it wrong. Because that is the one god gum out of everything. I mean, that is such an amazing weapon. At least at close distance, it has a retarded fire rate and retarded amount of damage. It's easily like my favorite thing to use as long as you're close quarters. As far as the Enforcer class goes, I'm a little undecided there. I haven't really used it enough to use all the weapons enough to really pick a winner. I know a few people out there definitely say at least 1 or 2 of them definitely are better, but I don't really know that yet, so I'm not really going to comment on it. And professional, Scout Elite all the way. That thing is practically a DMR and freaking amazing. And secondaries, right now for me would be the Tech 9. That thing's pretty damn good. Maybe not the best at very close ranges, but it's practically a primary. Now, we get to the really crappy part about the weapons. Some of the launchers are way too crazy. And it's ruining Hotwire for me just because Hotwire is a damn fun mode. You might not get a very good KD if you're actually driving around the vehicle. You will make a ton of money, however. But the RPG spam, putting the laser trip mines in the middle of the road, breaching charges, and everybody has a launcher. I don't mind the launchers so much. They actually work okay since it's usually not a one-shot kill. It takes one or two. That's actually fairly fun. And driving around, shooting out the windows, I actually really enjoy that. It's quite a fun mode. But once everybody has RPGs and, you know, quite a few people just sit at the side of the road just racking up kills, that kind of ruins it. I don't mind, you know, one or two people shooting at the car, but the extreme explosive spam is just a little ridiculous. Now, outside of Hotwire, what are good modes? Well, I love Blood Money. It's quite a bit of fun. You know, either you're the guy running the money or you're the guy running with the guy with the money. Or you're the asshole up on the roof shooting everybody that's trying to run around, which I can't, you know, deny that I've done more than a few times now. But Blood Money is a lot of fun and definitely something I'm going to keep playing quite often. And other than that, I do like Conquest. Who can't, you know, it's Conquest and it's Battlefield. Who doesn't like Conquest? It's a lot of fun. Some of the maps are quite small in it. And, well, for instance, the block. This is basically the new Metro, the new locker. It's really easy to spawn trap a team in that. There is actually ways to break out of that, but no one ever seems to do it. If you throw smoke and run out of bounds on the side, especially like an Enforcer with the riot shield on, so in case you're doing, you know, get shot at, if they do see you, you deflect a few of those. And the problem is, often my teammates won't spawn on me once I get back behind it, because I don't know why they don't do that. It is really annoying, and that map isn't the best. The only time I actually enjoyed that much was on TDM. And let's talk about TDM. TDM is, for the most part, awful. I think I'm not really a TDM player. Unless it's no Sharkanels in Battlefield 3. That's a lot of fun. But in this game, the spawns are terrible. You can spawn directly in front of somebody or directly behind them and rack up a bunch of kills. It doesn't make a lot of sense. They really need to work on that. Another fun mode at times is Heist. I really like that. Sometimes it really works well, sometimes it really doesn't. And it can be fairly one-sided in my opinion. It seems like the balance is just a little off, but you know, maybe that's me and what the maps I've been playing on so far. But it is fairly fun. I hate being the guy running it because you being highlighted to everybody, you get a lot of shit thrown your way. Sometimes it's kind of fun, you know, when you're getting shot at but not killed. But there is, you know, such a quick time to kill in this, you typically are just killed. As far as stability goes, I have 3 crashes now in 13 hours, which is not the greatest. I had a lot worse than Battlefield 4 when it first came out, but Battlefield 4 right now is much more stable. Graphically, the game, however, doesn't quite look as good as Battlefield 4 in most instances, or even Battlefield 3, but it does run very well. I typically hit around 85 to 100 frames per second with a GTX 670. And that's pretty damn good and mostly high in a couple ultra settings. Now lastly, I want to talk about player count. On Battlefield 4 right now, there's more people playing this than Battlefield Hardline on PC. On the consoles, a different story. In PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, there's quite a few people actually playing, which is a good thing. But quite a few people have stayed behind. It's pretty obvious, and I understand why. It's fairly obvious. Even though the game is fun, it's more to fill in the gap between Battlefield 4 and Star Wars Battlefront, or Battlefield 5 for some players. It's a good game, but it's not an amazing game. If you enjoyed my video, I would appreciate if you just hit that like button for me, and also don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. What do you think about the game? Have you been playing it? Are you sticking to Battlefield 4? Are you going to wait for Star Wars Battlefront? Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you're thinking about this.